So today we're reviewing
The Predator.
2018 Predator.
It's the one, the new release, not the 1987 one.
Yeah.
We just got back from seeing it. It's Thursday night. It was the first showing at the theater we usually go to. So my initial thoughts, honestly, coming out of it, well, going in, I knew it wasn't going to be as good as the first one. It's just not possible.
That mindset.
It's perfect to us, and I was open-minded. I liked some of what I saw in the trailers. I was really interested to see where they would go with this, because this is such a great universe to work with. You already know aliens are in this universe or somewhere in it. You know predators are in it, and there's just so many cool things that you could do with it. And for me personally, this was a little bit of a disappointment for me, especially from what I was hoping. With these movies, I know what they're capable of, as we saw in the first one. And there was a lot of things to enjoy in it still, despite me saying it was slightly a disappointment. And it's definitely above average in my opinion. You'll see in my final score.
I'd have to agree. I think my initial thoughts, I walked out, as the movie ended, I was just like, this is like an average. I just thought it was just average. And it was not awful. It was not complete garbage, but it really just didn't seem like much spectacular happened. There's moments. There's great
there's not memorable scenes.
There's only like two I remember, and this is the non-spoilers. So it's very average, and that's my initial thoughts. So.
For a non-spoiler synopsis of the film, from the outer reaches of space to the small town streets of suburbia, the hunt comes home. The universe's most lethal hunters are stronger, smarter, and deadlier than ever before, having genetically upgraded themselves with DNA from other species. When a boy accidentally triggers their return to Earth on a ragtag crew of ex-soldiers and evolutionary biologists can prevent the end of human race. That synopsis really did not sum up the movie, in my opinion. I guess without spoiling, what you see in the trailers, you see a giant predator and you see a normal-sized predator, and you see a lot of action sequences. You see the team that you're kind of following through this thing, which, if we want to start with our positives, for me, that's a big positive for me, is the team. It's nowhere near the first team from the Predator, but in terms of what I liked about the film, I really liked the jokes were phenomenal. That really exceeded my expectation. Well, it met my expectations. I was expecting some really funny lines. It's rated R. There's some really good jokes. Made me laugh a few times. My favorite character out of that crew was the Keegan-Michael Key character. He had some really good lines. Just the jokes are really good. There's some moments that I really liked that I'll get more specifically with the spoilers, but there's a scene when they're in a house, which I really liked.
So my positives is the visuals are great. The jokes are funny. Most of the members of the crew are really good, especially the one you mentioned. Yeah. It's really funny, and there are some really good lines. And the prosthetics, I don't even know how to say it. But
yeah, prosthetics.
They used a real suit for the first Predator, and it looks amazing. I mean, because you got really close shots of it, and I really liked how it looked. And I thought that was a really big positive when it walks around. And the upgrade Predator was cool, but I have some negatives about.
For me, without going to spoilers, because my biggest negatives are spoilers, because of directions of like where they're going. But negatives that I can hit on here: certain characters in the movie, I really don't understand their purpose. Well, I understand their purpose for being in it, but I don't understand why they chose to have them be in this. It's a spoiler too. The story was just not really what I wanted to see.
Too much going on.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, and I'm pretty open-minded with movies, and I can follow them pretty well. And the fact that I'm not going to say I was like lost, but I was really confused at certain stuff that was going on. I wanted to get on board with the storyline and follow it all the way through, but I felt that I was wondering what this storyline is throughout, because I kept waiting for a definitive answer of what was going on here. And I kept thinking, oh, that's what they're going to do. Then like, oh, yeah, they're not going to do that. Then why are they doing this? And also, you see in the trailers those dogs. Yeah. And I think the uses of the dogs were really not. It just turned out to be very inconsequential.
Like the negatives, I mean, the story is pretty weak. There really is. It's just really confusing. Certain characters definitely really made me mad and did not need to be in here. and a lot is, I think too much is going on, and there's certain conflicts that don't need to be in the movie, but I think we should probably just get into our spoilers, because we can't really talk about the negatives without getting into spoilers. So let's get into our grades.
Let's get into our final scores. Coming out of the theater, I was really frustrated because this is a franchise that I want to get behind and want to follow a storyline. Like I said, this could be a great, great franchise. I'd have to give this movie a 6.5 out of 10 because I feel like I give it a 7, but I'm so frustrated with the storyline, and like it could be so much better that giving it a 7 really is just giving it a pass for certain things.
I've been thinking really long and hard about this, the drive home, and I was thinking, honestly, and this is my honest opinion, the beginning of this movie, I was like, this could actually be a 9.
Oh, no, same.
The beginning of this movie, and it was honestly probably almost to the halfway point where I was still thinking, this is actually going to be like a 9.
I thought it'd be at least an 8.
Yeah, and then it went to an 8. And then by now, I'm thinking it's like a 7. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, which is really sad because, like, the beginning of this movie, I was thinking this was going to be a 9. I mean, I was really liking what I was seeing, but then it just kept going down. Yeah. So I'll have to give it a 7 out of 10.
And that was our non-spoiler section of our review for the Predator 2018. And we will see you guys in the spoiler section. Bye, guys. So for the spoilers,
so let's try to keep this just keep it under.
So I guess just specifically getting into spoilers, really it's gonna be hard for me to talk about the spoilers because there's just so many things that I'm still kind of confused about 100%. But I guess saying what kind of goes on,
it's hard to spoil.
It's really hard. There's just it's just kind of like I said, I felt lost during the movie. So it starts out, the storyline is basically just like that smaller Predator was fleeing his planet wherever he was at.
A traitor.
A traitor. He was a rogue Predator, which is a cool idea. And he lands there and kind of gets, and this is gets into our favorite scene. I think it was what you're talking about, is when his ship lands, and it kind of lands right in the middle of a army group trying to take out a drug cartel type group. We're handing out hostages, and it lands right there, and he runs back. He gets knocked out, and he wakes back up, and he's trying to find his crew, and one of his crew members just drops in the tree, like in the first one where it looked like he was skinned alive. He's being dangled down from the tree by his legs, and then all of a sudden you see great special effects with the Predator being camouflaged in the background. That was the best thing I thought they did about it. And then you see him, then he goes from the camouflage to actually being like against the tree, and he's invisible again. He starts going across. That was just phenomenal. At that point, I was thinking this might be a 9.5 for me if it would have stayed at that level, which it doesn't. And then all of a sudden, then it just from there on out, it's really just confusing with what they're actually going after. Because then the big Predator shows up and kills that smaller Predator, rips his head off.
Yeah, that's definitely something that was one of my. I guess I could have said this in non-spoilers, but it's where they're in this like building, and they were basically running away from the regular Predator. And then you see and hear the big Predator walking outside. You see him kind of walk by his shadow. And I thought that was an awesome scene.
That was good.
That was such a good scene. It made him look like such a boss, and it was a great. Then when he threw him into the car and ripped his head out with his spine, I thought it was great because they have that on the poster.
Yeah.
I was glad they actually had that in the movie, and that shows how much stronger he is. And even though it's kind of useless for the end of the movie, though.
Because I think he was. That's the other thing. Is he's trying to chase him down for obviously because he's a traitor and he wants to kill him. He wanted to kill him and the ship to destroy that. And I think he was asking for. He said hand it over. And I think he was asking for that Predator killer that you see. That's the end of the movie. Which is that thing that which is what that Predator, the smaller Predator, left for humans, which is basically like an Iron Man suit that forms around a person to be able to fight the Predators, which hints at them wanting to come down to Earth to take it over, which is a cool idea.
And actually, at the beginning, because the Predators are all about getting rid of any evidence, and that actually makes sense now, though, that when the one Predator leaves his ship, he didn't get it blown up because he was a traitor.
Yeah.
The other Predators, like in the first one when he explodes himself, he wants there to make sure there's no evidence left. And that's what he did. There was no evidence. Yeah. That's what they do. But obviously that was the traitor, so he didn't care.
Another big spoiler, out of the group that you're following the whole time, everyone dies except for the main lead who you see focused on the trailers, his son, which was a big thing we're going to talk about here soon, and this girl, biologist, who's another big doozy in this film. Two characters that they focus on in this movie that, in my opinion, the girl could have been in it because she's a biologist and she's smart and she's trying to like learn about these things, but really her character's pretty annoying with certain of the things she did. Just the way she comes off as this like arrogant type person, which obviously what equals out that attitude are the jokes that are said and certain things that go on, which are really funny.
But yeah, why don't we talk about the kid?
And then let's just say the kid. This is probably the biggest, one of the biggest negatives, aside from the storyline itself. For me personally, I've watched all the trailers, and maybe I just wasn't focusing too much, but I did not see this little boy in one single trailer.
They showed him in the teaser.
I didn't see him in any.
And it looked like he was flying the ship, and I was like, what in the actual F?
Actually, you're going to say something, I'm going to say something.
Well, but then I was like, then they didn't show him in the rest of the trailers, and when you think of the first Predator, do you think of a 10-year-old kid? No, you don't.
No.
You think of big, freaking muscular fighters, soldiers that are going out to fight these things, and not fight these things, but just big, tough guys, and that does not include a 10-year-old freaking kid. That was such a bad decision. I don't know who made that decision, but that was really dumb. That's not what people want to see. When you think about the first Predator, you don't think of a 10-year-old kid. Just take him out of there.
The beginning, like we said, I loved it. I mean, I loved the beginning, which is saying something. Just the way that they had this really cool setting. You see the Predator just F up his crew, and then you see him like in the tree. Really cool scene. The lights came on in our theater, and no one got up to do anything, so I had to be the one to get up, and we're in the back row. So I walked all the way down and go out to the lobby to tell them to turn the lights off, and I come back, and I was so happy at the beginning, like this would be good. So, and it was kind of a scene where, like, you see him go back, which is fine. It's not always me in the jungle. And then I come back, and it's in a school, and a fire alarm's going off, and I'm looking around like, did I just walk in the right? Originally, I'm like, did I walk in the right theater? And then I walked back up to our seat. I'm like, why are we in a school here? And once they showed this kid, and they show him go home, like, this kid's gonna be a big part of this movie. Which, it's nothing against the actor. I want to make that clear. It's his role. It could have been a girl. It could have been a boy. It could have been anyone.
It's not the actor. He got a position and is getting paid for it. That's not it.
His role in the movie is just so utterly ridiculous, in my opinion. You can make him come off that he's smart, but they have him be such an integral role that this giant predator machine killer wants him.
He's able to access all the machines. He's able to figure out everything.
A spaceship that he's never seen before in his life in a language that he will never understand. And this big predator wants him. The fact that he was even like, he kept saying McKenna, and I was like, whose name is that? Which is another thing, you don't really know these characters' names, except for a couple. And he takes the kid, and I'm like, you have to be kidding me that this kid is what this thing is after. Like, does he really want to... The only thing I could buy is that he's that smart. He's just this miracle child that he wants to, like, take his DNA to, like, help make him smarter, but I just don't... It makes this so stupid.
It's not even that he's, like... It's not that he's smart, because it's like he was, like, linked with someone else, because you can't just know alien technology like that. That's not being smart. That's, like, impossible. The deaths really aren't that emotional. I mean, I was sad to see certain ones die.
Yeah, the best ones, my favorite character is the funniest guy, Michael Key, when he gets shot, like, through his body, and his best friend, who they've been having a lot of funny jokes between each other, guy with Tourette's, is up on the tree, and they both shoot each other at the same time. That was kind of cool. And despite all that, I still think it's a 6.5, which is not a terrible grade at all.
No.
And you gave it a 7 out of 10.
I gave it 7. There are some really cool scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's good jokes. But
the jokes we can't really... There's some really funny jokes. I like the scene... Without getting into, like, specifics of the jokes, because there are some pretty dirty jokes. There's a scene where they're inside the main character's house with his wife, and they're just kind of raiding through the house, and he's like, I'm going to go save my son and go fight the predator. And one guy finally goes, and then the one guy says he was going to go because he didn't want to be called a name. And the other two guys just sit down like they're going to watch TV. And then he comes back and tells them we're going. And then, like, as they walk by, he's like, hey, I liked your speech, or I didn't like your speech, and stuff like that. Just stuff like that was funny. And then Keegan-Michael Key once again had the greatest lines in the movie.
Yeah, he's definitely.
And there's a scene with a dog where he gets shot in the head, which that's another thing to make any sense why the dog kept falling around. Was like a good dog. That was kind of stupid. Didn't make sense. But after they shoot him, he's kind of like wobbling around, and Keegan's like, what's going on here? Like what we're thinking in the theater. Like, why is this thing still here? But yeah. So thanks for watching this video, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.